Good day and belated Happy World Pharmacist Day, everyone. I know that you are all very excited to learn about the changes as to how pandemic affected the behavior and perception of our patients towards pharmaceutical care. At this webinar, we will learn more and understand how pharmacists use technology at their respective institutions and how pharmacists sees the use of technology in moving forward. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this webinar brought to you by the largest pharmacy network in Southeast Asia's Swipe RX with the theme Pharmacist Heart and Tech, embracing the advanced way of being the center of care. I am Mark Laidoana, a clinical pharmacist of the Gupan Doctors Villaflor Memorial Hospital and a key opinion leader of Swipe RX Philippines, and I will be your moderator for this afternoon's webinar. All right, so before we start our event, let me discuss some house rules to our participants. First, we will mute your microphones while the session is ongoing. You may submit your questions via Zoom question and answer box. The Q&A will follow right after the session. We will try to attend most questions within the given time. In order to get the certificate, you need to attend the webinar for at least 45 minutes. The issuance of certificate will be electronically sent to you upon your eligibility. It will be informed to your email and make sure that you have Swipe RX app on your phone. Relax, participate in our door prizes that will be given later, and enjoy the webinar. To formally start our event, let me call on the Community Marketing Director of Swipe RX. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Miss Ika Nor Hayati Hamdan.
All right. Thanks, Clark, for the introduction. And thanks also for all the participants as well as all of the speakers that have made your time to be here in the Zoom meeting in a very lovely afternoon in Indonesia, Malaysia, and also Philippines. So we have about 2,000 people that is celebrating here with us in this lovely afternoon. Happy belated World Pharmacist Day. It's a day for all of us, and it is a very interesting as well as a unique timing that we are all as a pharmacy professionals, given the situation that no one has ever faced it before. And we know that in every challenges, in every difficulties, there are also some other opportunities. And instead of looking at something that is hard, something that makes us sad and everything, we choose to see what is the light at the end of the tunnel, because we believe that this hard timing, this tough time that we are facing right now is actually will give us a very great opportunity how we as the pharmacy professional will have an opportunity to serve our society, our patients better. And interestingly, it actually, there are a very unique opportunity, maybe only once in a century that we experience right now with the use of technology and how we can serve better our society. So that's the reason why our theme for today is that embracing the challenges with the heart and technology. So once again, I want to say thank you for everyone here. And then, yeah, let's the fun begin. Make sure that you participate in all of the activities that we have prepared for you. There's some door prize coming, as Mr. Clark is also saying. And don't forget to yeah, download the Swipe RX app if you haven't. And to celebrate the day for all of us, I will going to officially open this webinar with giving you a very nice and heartwarming video for all of us. Thank you and enjoy.
This year has brought unprecedented disruption to our economy and great uncertainty about our lives and our future. Dear pharmacists and pharmacy professionals, you are the unsung heroes who had the courage to keep your stores open and provide the best care to your patients. Despite all the lockdowns and all the risks, you stayed open to serve every patient with a smile. We applaud and admire your commitment to improving healthcare. We have always been here to support you in your education, your career development, your connections with colleagues, and even in your procurement to help make sure medicines are always available and affordable for the end patient. You are the heart of your community's health. You are the ones who make sure medicine is always there. You are the ones who teach patients about their health and medicine. You are the ones who work tirelessly from morning to night to help your community. Your actions have inspired us to innovate and reinvent ourselves. Dear pharmacists and pharmacy professionals, together, we will transform global health.
All right. Thank you very much, Miss Iki, for that very wonderful opening remarks. At this point,
This year has brought
this
unprecedented disruption to
okay,
our
to set the
economy,
mood for
great
our
uncertainty.
event, let's first have our interactivity. A poll question will be flashed on your screen and you will be given 20 seconds to answer the questions. The winners of interactivity will be announced at the end of this event and they will be receiving door prizes, of course, from Swipe RX. You now have 20 seconds to answer the poll question. I'm very excited for the winners. All right, at any moment, we will be flashing the result of the poll. All right. So for the first question, majority of our participants answered face-to-face interaction with patient. That's what they really missed the most before COVID-19 pandemic. And for the second question, are you a friend or a foe of e-prescription in the life before COVID? Majority of our participants answered a friend, and I knew that it is going to be the future. For those who answered those answers, okay, you now have a big chance to be one of our winners, and maybe one of your names will be announced later. All right, at this moment, I know that you are very excited to meet our speakers. So for our first speaker at this event, he is a pharmapreneur, being an owner of a local pharmacy and the professor and chairperson of the Department of Pharmacy and Lyceum of the Philippines, University Davao. He graduated his Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy major in Clinical Pharmacy, Master of Science in Pharmacy, and Doctor of Philosophy in Education from University of Immaculate Conception. Currently, he's furthering his studies, taking up Doctor of Philosophy in Management at Lyceum of the Philippines, University Laguna. Over the years, his workable innovations in the community pharmacy has been recognized by National Organization of Pharmacists and awarded him the Outstanding Pharmacist in the Community Pharmacy by the Philippine Pharmacists Association Incorporated and the first Ideal Young Pharmacist Awardee by the Young Pharmacist Group in the Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, to discuss pivoting to virtual care in pharmacy setting, I present to you Dr. Kenny James P. Marine.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon,
Share
sir.
my screen for a while. Please let me know if my screen is visible on
Mhm.
your end.
It is, sir.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our celebration of the World Pharmacist Day. First and foremost, I'd like to extend my greetings to my fellow pharmacists. Happy World Pharmacist Day. It's a glorious way to celebrate our profession when we come together and share our common aspirations and as well as discuss the things that we have been into and has evolved into in the past years into the COVID-19. So for this afternoon, I'm honored to share with you a talk on pivoting to virtual care in pharmacy in the setting here in the Philippines. Now, I'd like to call this talk as the metamorphosis, emphasis on the RPH since we are all registered pharmacists. As mentioned earlier in the generous introduction, I own a pharmacy here in our locality, and that's Marine Pharmacy. And we have been working on innovation specifically on digitizing our services in order to extend our help to people who really need it, especially now in the pandemic. So for this afternoon, you can expect the following from my talk. So we are going to understand the changes of the behavior of the people interacting with pharmacists during COVID-19. We are going to help understand how pharmacists use technology in our work and insights on how we see the use of technology moving forward. Now, we have all seen how COVID has brought the world to its knees. Currently, there's roughly 212 million infected by COVID reported cases and around 4 million deaths. As you can see on the right side of my screen, Philippines is already there in the map. Yeah, so we are really experiencing a lot of surge right now with the Delta variant, and times are tough here in the Philippines because of that. And the world really needs now that circle of protection, that I believe that pharmacists can give. We are now mandated by the government to be physically distant, but I'd like to encourage everybody that in our physical distancing, there always has to be social connecting. Our social connection between our patients, that's what I answered in the poll earlier, that it should be something that should not be lost between pharmacists and patients. We need to interact with our patients. And in our changing world today, in our rapid changing world today, personally, I thought that the digitization of our practice would take around 20 years or more here in the Philippines, but everybody saw it happen in less than a year, even in months' time. And now, I believe there is a chance for us to morph into something beautiful. And that is why I'm going to focus on the reinvention of the pharmacist here in the Philippines so that we can reinvent the pharmacy experience. When we started our pharmacy in 2017, these were services that we offered already. We are engaged already in home care pharmacy, although the demand was not that high before. And we have always been engaged in drug information services. We pride ourselves that we are small enough to know our clients, but also big enough to serve their needs. Together, when we opened our pharmacy, a year before that, the Philippine Pharmacy Act of 2016 was acted into law, which covered in the implementing rules and regulation the capabilities of pharmacies to open and offer telepharmacy and online pharmacy services. One of it here is the online pharmacy services, which is allowed for duly licensed pharmaceutical outlets, and of course the telepharmacy, which can be done again by a pharmaceutical outlet with the use of telephone, teleconferencing, and facsimile. Now, these are things that we use and we took advantage of, especially when the pandemic hit. So Marine Pharmacy pivoted into virtual care by catering text prescriptions and e-prescriptions. In Davao City, from the city where I come from and where our president comes from as well, this is where the city that 911 started, at least here in the Philippines. So the 911 culture here in the Philippines and our working together with them has always been there for many years already. And when the pandemic started, our Davao City 911, through our task force on COVID-19, they launched their Tawag Kay Doc, or we call that here as, we know that as telemedicine. And we were quick enough to partner that with the efforts of pharmacists, which I will discuss later, but we were now catering text prescriptions and e-prescriptions. This is, of course, with guidance of our Food and Drug Administration, who allowed the use of e-prescriptions during the time that the Philippines is under a public health emergency. Now, Marine Pharmacy, being a local pharmacy, we don't have our own application, but of course, I believe there are means to connect with people, and we maximize the use of social media for that. So we had our official Facebook page since we opened in 2017, and we have took advantage of that using its messenger platform to connect with our clients. So we used our social media to have our home care pharmacy and medicine pickup and delivery services. So for our delivery services, this is our home care pharmacy. So during the ECQ, that's what we call it here in the Philippines, enhanced community quarantine, where no people could really go out except if you are a frontliner or someone who really has the permit to go out. So a lot of our citizens were locked at home, and the access to medicine was very difficult. So we relaunched our home care pharmacy, and thankfully, it was able to help a lot of people during the time of our ECQ around April to July. We were able to deliver around 1,000 medicines all over the city to give access to those people who could not go out and buy their medications. So example of our transactions would go like this. When they message our Facebook page, they would be given a form to fill out, and they would fill out their order and their information. And of course, if it needs a prescription, they have to send an e-prescription together with that. We gave out a summary. Of course, during this time, I was the one manning our home care pharmacy services. So I would really introduce myself as the pharmacist and give them the instructions on how to proceed. So we have several payment options like our bank transfer and our GCash here in the Philippines so that our clients can um, simply transfer their payments. And we also offered the cash on delivery during the time. So once the payment is made, we send it out for delivery. We prepare it on our end. So we always emphasize the temperature of our delivery personnel so that the one receiving will know that at the time when our personnel was delivering the medication, he was not sick. Okay. And we also encourage them to give reviews. And we are very happy that our Facebook page, you can check it out, has a perfect 5-star rating. Aside from our delivery services, we have also launched around July of 2020 the online consultation for pharmacists. It has been a challenge to talk to people in the pharmacy because of the barriers that we put in, and of course, because of the fear of getting or contracting the virus. So the amount of time that we interact with patients are now very limited. I know all pharmacists feel that. A lot of people, when they go inside, they just want to step out right away. In the practice of the Philippines, that has always been the case. But with the COVID, it's even more that way, that people do not want to stay in one place for a long time because they are afraid of contracting the virus. So we have also used our social media in terms of online pharmacist consultation. So I am also the one personally manning this online pharmacist consultation, and we're giving it for free. I'll be giving some examples later on how we go about our online pharmacist consultation. So pharmacists, aside from our going online, we also have to reinvent ourselves to be in collaboration with our fellow healthcare professionals and patients. Our tagline for our pharmacy is that our patients are our partner for better health. We always look at our patients not as someone who is sick and who needs help, but these are people who we want to keep healthy. We want to partner with them in order to promote health. And with this kind of mindset, I have mentioned earlier that we have partnered with Davao City 911, our local chapter of the national organization is in partnership, and we have this teleprescription with our Davao City 911. So the clients can call this 911 and they can talk to a doctor, and a specific number that is recognized by all pharmacies will receive a text prescription with the order for that patient, and we call to verify. This is in accordance to FDA Circular 2020-007, which are guidelines on implementing the use of electronic means of prescription. As I have mentioned before the pandemic, e-prescription were not recognized here in the Philippines because of its challenges. But as we all realize right now, the benefit of having the e-prescriptions are really greater than the risk it poses in our healthcare system as of the moment that we are in a public health emergency. So our Association of Pharmacists here created a dispensing prescription guide for pharmacists, where all our pharmacists here in Davao City were given a copy where they are guided on how to dispense a prescription with the use of the e-prescription. So we know here how to verify, how to clarify when to give the prescription and when not give the prescription. And Marine Pharmacy, in partnership with our association, also developed our pharmacist transcribed e-prescription form. So since there is no actual physical prescription from our physician, So it's the pharmacist who will prepare the prescription with the information of the physician as well, but signed by the pharmacist. So this is a transcription of what the doctor has given either through a digitized prescription or a teleprescription. So this is my wife here is also a pharmacist dispensing a medication with the use of that pharmacist transcribed a prescription form. So the care continues in our pharmacy. We do not stop just because COVID happened. We need to pivot. We need to find a way. We need to reinvent ourselves because the care that our clients need does not stop. It doesn't change. The non-communicable diseases are as dangerous as it was before, arguably even more dangerous now because of the challenge in the access of our healthcare system. And that is also why we launched our online pharmacist consultation. So with the use of our social media, we give advice on over-the-counters, common ailments, and most importantly, we practice referral to medical doctors. So this is an example of an actual interaction that I had in the pharmacy online. So when you go to our page, you are greeted with an automatic or automated response if you want to for online consultation or medicine delivery. So when you click online consultation, this will be our automatic text right there. For online consultation with pharmacists, please fill out the form. So name, age, current medical medicines, condition, and what are your questions. So here you can see that the patient asked me, or the client asked me, what is the medicine for the 5-year-old? And they thought it was a ringworm. So from a healthcare professional's point of view, that is most certainly not a ringworm. So what do we advise? So I introduce myself as the pharmacist and I ask when it started. So we have to interview, we need to know to get more information. So it started 3 days ago and they applied some antifungal cream. Maybe that's the reason why there are irritations already. So we advise them not to apply anything else, and because of the presentation of that skin infection, so we have referred them to our partner, which is 911 telemedicine, or the one that I have mentioned earlier, which is the Tawag Kay Doc. And I was so happy because the day after, we were able to receive an e-prescription. So this is really a fulfilling practice, for a pharmacist like me. These are moments that are really priceless when you are getting that experience, first-hand experience with clients, and being able to refer them to doctors and being able to receive a prescription with the correct diagnosis and correct treatment for our patient. So now you can see here that the prescription was for an antibiotic. So the doctor is now suggesting that it is bacterial in nature. So there you have cephalexin, cetirizine for the itching, I guess, and mupirocin ointment to also augment on the affected areas. And of course, in the return of investment, even if the service is free, I was able to get one prescription to be filled. So you're helping people and also you're expanding your business. So there are two coins here that are you are serving. And this is what we got from the review of that client. So as I have made mention, we always encourage our clients to review so that we know our strengths and our areas for improvement. And they were very thankful because when they called 911, they were able to get the correct diagnosis for their patient and they were able to get the correct medication for the child, which was 5 years old. Another one is another consultation. So this is an allergy or bed bug bites. And the patient is taking a lot of things. There's fluticasone right there, cetirizine and calmoseptin, I guess, for the treatment here. And she's not sure if it's allergy or bed bug bites. And she was taking cetirizine already. So I introduced myself as a pharmacist and I asked for a picture so that I can see what type of rashes we are dealing with. So upon the interview, we were able to ask if there was fever so that it can be suggestive if it is infectious or not, and normal. So I then asked if there was anything new in the routine, any new shampoo or any new soap. There we were able to get the information that she was out of town a couple of days ago and she forgot to bring soap. So instead of using soap, she used her shampoo as the soap. So that could possibly pinpoint why she's having an allergy. So we suggested to change into a hypoallergenic soap. For the meantime, apply cold compress, continue on the calmoseptine and cetirizine. And of course, after 3 days, we refer them to a doctor if the symptoms is still persistent. Aside from that, we also have our written medication counseling that we have launched in 2017 as well. This has proven itself very much useful in the pandemic, especially for the over-the-counters, since I have mentioned that the time that we interact with patients in the pharmacy are relatively shorter than usual. So we are now giving pre-printed medication counseling as a form of our virtual care for our patients. It might not be virtual in the sense that it's not happening online, but it is something that they can bring home and they can ponder upon before they use their medication. So this is something that I'm really happy to innovate on. And take note that this is not something that is incorporated in our POS. These are simply printouts. That's why I always tell them that our innovations are really something workable and within the budget of a drugstore that is not with a lot of applications and resources. And we do this just because we know this can help our clients. So those are the two things that how we reinvent ourselves as pharmacists. Number one, first is we go online. Number two is that we collaborate. And thirdly, I'd like to share that we are now playing a bigger role in our uh, in the primary care because there is a gap right now that we are observing where clients, especially those with NCDs, non-communicable diseases, are having difficulty going to their doctors. And pharmacists can fill in that gray area, telling these people, is it time to go to your doctor? Is there something wrong with you? Is your disease progressing? Are your are your blood pressure and blood glucose normal? Is there a need to go to your doctor? So we can now guide them. This is actually supposed to be the work of pharmacists. I'm sure in other countries like yours, you may be doing that, but in the Philippines, we don't have that common practice yet. And we are strengthening that. And this is an opportunity during this pandemic that we see that pharmacists are playing a bigger role in the primary care with the aid of technology. Now, the WHO has said that the non-communicable diseases in May 2020 has been increasing. And in the WHO, Dr. Mickelson told us it will be some time before we know the full extent and the impact of the disruptions in the healthcare during the COVID-19 with people with non-communicable diseases. People with NCDs more vulnerable to becoming seriously ill with the virus, and of course, the access to treatment that they need to manage their illness is really becoming very, very problematic. So how are pharmacists helping here in the Philippines? We are doing health promotions. We are doing triage now in our pharmacy where we offer free blood pressure checking, blood glucose monitoring, BMI monitoring. Common ailment management has been a long practice. Chronic illness monitoring through what I said in the triage, medication response assessment, drug-related problem screening, disease progression screening. If we see people who have edema, for example, I think that's a red flag right there that they need to go and see their doctor. If they're experiencing progressions of the disease, then the disease progression screening, basing on our knowledge and pathophysiology, is something that we can guide our patients so that they know the urgency of going to their doctors, even if the access is really limited. We can direct them to telemedicines and we can direct them to their doctors. And of course, there is ensuring of access of medicine and drug information services, like what I've shared earlier, our home care pharmacy, our online consultation. And in the Philippines, I'm also very proud to say that we have launched our adult vaccination services. There are over 400 vaccinating pharmacists here in the Philippines, including me, and we are now growing in number. Hopefully, at the end of the year, will be enough to augment the need of vaccinators also. And I am dreaming in a few months' time or a year time that pharmacies will be tapped to become part of this COVID-19 vaccine rollout so that they can have their vaccines in a very accessible manner in their communities inside their pharmacies. So very quickly, I think I don't have much time, so I will just be showing some of our innovations. This is our patient profiling form. This is our written medication counseling form that I mentioned earlier. This is what we give our clients when we get their prescription, and other innovations like our home care pharmacy to promote proper use of medication are also something that we practice in our pharmacy. So I'd like to end with everybody realizing that out of adversity, even how difficult the situation is, even if how challenging it is, even if it's life threatening, there is always a silver lining, there is always an opportunity. And so I challenge all of you to morph into something beautiful out of these adversities and realize that pharmacists are partners for better health, should you choose to do your job efficiently in the community. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share with all of you. Good afternoon, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Marine, for that very informative and a very inspiring presentation. This is actually not the first time that I get to hear about the services that you offer to your community, and I still always feel inspired every time that I get to hear about it. Again, thank you very much. All right, at this point, I would like to remind our participants that if you have any question for Dr. Marine, you may feel free to key it in our Q&A box, and we will try to answer as many questions as our time will allow later on. For now, let me introduce you to our second speaker. Our second speaker finished a bachelor's and master's degree in information technology. He is a business practitioner in pharmacy for the past decade. He is also the owner of the Apotek Laguna Sihat, located in Jakarta, Indonesia. To discuss how technology changed the way of business during COVID-19 pandemic and the future, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Steven Escom.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Mark, for the opportunities. Hello, everyone. My name is Steven. Thanks for the invitation to let me be one of the speakers in today's webinar. I also like to say hi to all of the speakers today. We got Dr. Kenny James from Philippines, Dr. Shekhar from Malaysia, and Ms. Berta from Indonesia, and also got the Swipe RX team and all of the Swipe RX community who is watching right now. It's my pleasure to be here and nice to meet you all. All right, first of all, I would like to say Happy Pharmacist Day 2021 for all of you. I hope all the pharmacy professionals keep healthy and stay safe wherever you are. So now let me share my slide for all of you. Today, I'm going to talk about my story, my experience, that how the technology changed the way of business during COVID-19 pandemic and the future. Before I jump into the topic, I will introduce my background first. For my educational background, I have studied bachelor degree of computer science and master degree in information technology. So I do realize and understand that technology is very important for us right now, and it can make a huge impact for any kind of business you are right now, as long as you know how to use it and when or where to use it. So as Mark also mentioned before, I'm the owner of Apotek Laguna Sehat. Apotek is in Bahasa, which means is pharmacy store, and it is located in Jakarta. Actually, I have two stores and both of them are in the same city. Okay, next slide. Well, as a business practitioner in this field for the past decade, I do experience a lot and overcome up and down obstacles. But this time, this pandemic is never like the other obstacle or challenge I ever faced before. So in my country, COVID-19 pandemic lasts for 1.5 years now, and we have still struggled for the time being. And yeah, although I saw the news that our positivity rate and our trend is going down, but honestly speaking, I did not see the pandemic come even close to the end yet. So talking about what kind of challenge during the pandemic COVID-19, especially me as a pharmacy store owner, I break down to these three of key points. And actually the first one, I want to talk about the COVID-19 virus itself. So when it first came out in 1.5 years ago, people are not aware how dangerous this virus will be. But later when things became more serious, everybody is trying to protect themselves, including health protocol and even social distancing. But when things became worse and worse, everyone is looking for medicine and masks that time. Then I thought that I want to protect my store, my employees, and even my families. So we are doing a lot of internal testing for the employees, and I even built a barrier from acrylic within customer and employee, so they feel a little bit safe when they are selling medicine, right? So I give them mask and vitamin every day because if they gotten sick, there might be an issue for our operational. So yeah, this is very terrifying. And then you just feel like every day you open the store and face to face to customer, and you don't know if they got the COVID or not, and but you just can't back off because you still need to serve them and the best as you could. So yeah, this is the difficult task. And number two is decrease on demand. What do you mean by this? When government policy decided to lock down our countries, close the border for some period of times, even got the extension weeks by weeks, months by months, of course, there will be a side effect. And people are forced to stay at home, and almost all the non-essential business are being shut down until further notice. But the community still need the income for whatever the job is, just to buy food, right? So when there are a lot of companies want to survive from this, they make cost efficiency. The first one will be lay off the employees. After some period of times, if the lockdown keep happening, then they will just take a major step to totally shut down the business, or even worse, become bankrupt. And the most harm one, of course, is the community, the people. People lose their job, no income, no food. Then people will try to save their saving as hard as they could. They will not buy anything besides for food. So for the other business that still open, like pharmacy store, then no customer will come to shop. Yeah, of course, you still can make some revenue, but it's just not normal anymore. And this will eventually impact our business revenue going down. And the third one is rare goods struggles. When the COVID trend coming to their peak case in a day, I remember back then, like on June or July 2021, that are the highest ever recorded in our country. It's like 50,000 cases per day. All of the people became so panicked. And I do remember there are 2 or 3 times panic buying rush in my country. And that moment when all around you or who you know all just got the COVID virus, and all of them just want to heal by buying COVID medicine. So this quickly became a national issue, not just only my pharmacy store, but everyone just find the same medicine combination for treating COVID. And like the economy formula, when demand is higher than supply, then there will be a scarcity of goods, right? So next. These are some articles that I pick up from the local news. The left one is one of our famous minister who in charge in COVID virus things, and he said that one of the medicine name, it works for the patient COVID-19. So that time, everybody is just looking for the same medicine name, and it's just like a race. Everyone is looking for the same medicine. So that name just became so rare and so expensive. And the right slide, right hand, we got police said, explained that there's oxygen tank became so rare because everyone is just buying oxygen. You know, I remember back then I got a phone call from unknown number, and he just said to me that the guy on the phone said that he need my help because he knows that I'm the owner of pharmacy store, and then he asked me if I can help you or not. So I said, sure, what can I help to you? And he said that his father is in Jakarta, but he is in another city, and his father has got COVID virus for the past weeks, and in these past 3 days they cannot communicate each other, so So he asked me for check his father condition, and he want to buy medicine. So that time he shared the contact to me, and I make a call to his father, and someone is picking up, but turn out it's not his father, but his father's friend and or his colleagues who were working together with. And I asked what is his father condition, and he said that his father is in a bad condition. So I said, can you share the picture of his father condition right now? And when he shared, I just got shocked because I saw a man laying on the bed with two eyes wide open and mouth open, just unconsciously trying to take a breath, but he just couldn't. And then I asked to them, why you didn't go bring him to the hospital? And he said that all of the hospital already full at that time, and they cannot accept a new patient anymore. So they just went back home and just do nothing. And then I called back his son, and then I told his son about the situation, and I shared the screen of his father condition, and I said that your father is not only need COVID medicine right now, but the most important one, he need to breathe, so he need to oxygen tank right now. So he just so panicked that time, and he just want quickly buy oxygen in his town. I said, it will be too late. Your father need it right now, the oxygen tank. So I decided to give the oxygen tank where I keep it in my store. So I use online delivery services and send it to his father. And then after, in the evening, I got a phone call again from his son, and he said that his father already passed away. And then I just got so shocked. Oh my God, I thought I already had the best as I could. And so he also, yeah, I told him that I'm so sorry for your loss, and uh, may your dad rest in peace now. So the funny thing is, he also want to pay back the oxygen tank for me, because that time oxygen is so expensive and so rare. But I said, no, don't count on it anymore, because I genuinely really want only have your father. So I'm so sorry, but I couldn't. And that day, it's so sad for me. Sometimes you just want to help people so bad, but sometimes it just couldn't happen. Okay, let's continue to the next slide. Okay, how am I scale my business smoothly and turn that into opportunities? The first one, actually, it's not easy one at first, because although you have the opportunity to skyrocket your revenue, but then medicine scarcity and you can't find in any suppliers that time. So what I did, the first one is be adaptive, innovate, consistent, and hard work. This means that change the behavior from the conventional one to more modernized one. Example like customer cannot reach you directly because of the pandemic situation. And maybe some of them are in quarantine, but in needs of medicine, right? So you can make life easier for them, like order by online, and then you give them a free delivery services. And also for the innovation, you can make some of the medicine combination for COVID treatment that time, such as like antibiotics, antivirals, or vitamins, paracetamol, etc. And also you need to be consistent about your quality services and operational hours. This helps a lot the business actually. And number two is technology. As a former IT consultant and IT developer, I do embrace technology to help me expand the pharmacy businesses. Let's say I want to travel overseas with my wife, and whenever or wherever I want, I have a system that could help me check the current stock and revenue that day, and even restock good by buying products or procurement. So it means that humans have problem and technology solve your problem. That can make your life easier. That is what the use of technology. Okay. And number three is always update information from the government policy, because if you do follow the news and latest policy, actually you might make a strategy how to manage your cash flow, or even manage your fast moving products at that time, or even product that will be useless anymore, so you might don't want to keep it longer. And number four is never say no to customer. So I always train my employee to never say no to customer. Even though that we didn't have the medicine that time, you can ask them whether want to change to another brand with the same composition, with the same function and effect. Or if they still don't want, you can ask them whether can give us time to find for them, maybe. So yeah, that's all the thing you should do when you need to sell your business smoothly. So next slide. What if the pandemic never end? What if the business, if this COVID remain permanent? Well, the answer is whether pandemic became permanent or not for the pharmacy business will not be affected too much actually, because um, pharmacy is a primary needs. People hungry, they go buy food, and people sick, they go buy medicine. Of course, they find doctor first. And then, but I want to underline here that it still depends on what are the government policy, whether the decision made could sustain the economy of the community and did not burden the pharmacy business and the other business. And next slide. So any specific revenue line will be changing in my perspective. Of course, they are. Number one is delivery. This is very important feature I thought that pharmacy should have, because nowadays people are so lazy to move. They just order something from their smartphone and want to be delivered directly to their house. And then the second one is online pharmacy. It's a good choice for extra revenue generator, because most of medicine supplier in Indonesia, especially, have joined this kind of platform, even make their own one. So joint partnership with them is not a mistake. And number three is customer relationship. So I think this is the most significant revenue generator, in my opinion, because let's say you have 10 or 20 loyal customer to you every weeks or months shop at your place, especially in Indonesia market. So whatever happened with the local or government policy, this will not be affected as your extra income. So next one. Okay, so that's all right. Thank you and have a nice day. I give it back to Mr. Mark. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kong, for that concise yet very informative presentation. I know that you are all very excited to meet our next speakers, but before that, again, to set the mood for our event, let's first have another interactivity. Again, we will be showing you a question and you have 20 seconds to answer these questions. Can't wait to see the results. I wonder what is it gonna be. All right. So for our first question, What do you think the role of social media in virtual care activity? Majority of our participants, 84%, said a big help as it spread information to large number of patients, which is something that I can agree with. And second question, where do you think the hardest challenges in running a pharmacy business recently? And majority of our participants, which is 48%, said fulfilling an ever-changing customer demand. Thank you very much for joining our second interactivity, everyone. At this point, allow me to introduce you to our third speaker for this afternoon. Again, may I just remind our participants, if you have any question for our first two speakers, you may please key it in our Q&A box. And again, we will try to answer as many questions as our time will allow later on. And later at the end of our session, we will be announcing the winners of our interactivity. So I suggest that you stick with us. Okay, it seems like we're having a little technical difficulty. So to our attendees, again, for you to be able to receive your certificate of attendance, you have to at least attend the webinar for at least 45 minutes. So we will be able to monitor that, and you will also be informed on your email if you are eligible to receive one. Okay, so for our third speaker, she's a university lecturer in Universitas Islam Bandung, Indonesia, with years of experience and PhD in biomedical sciences. She achieved her PhD from Murdoch University, Australia, in the field of study, biological and biomedical sciences. Currently, she's actively teaching in class, conducting scientific researches, and doing community services for the field of science with lectures including organic chemistry, clinical chemistry, food safety and analysis, amongst others. To discuss with us the challenges and opportunities of future pharmacists in the making, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Miss Berta Rusdi.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. I would like to prepare my slide first. May I start share my screen? Thank you very much for the opportunity. Firstly, I would like to wish all my pharmacist colleague a happy Pharmacist Day. I'm Berta Rusdi, as Mr. Clark already introduced me. So currently I'm a lecturer in pharmacy department, Universitas Islam Bandung, and in this occasion, I would like to talk about the challenges and opportunities of future pharmacists in the making, based on my experience conducting teaching during the pandemic. Firstly, I want to explain how the classic class happen on offline in lecture method. In most of university, generally conducting by classroom teaching and laboratory work. So the lecturer and the student can have direct interaction, so they can ask question directly once the teaching occur. And also the student have opportunity to do experiment in the lab while they are doing laboratory work. So they have skills that's needed for a pharmacist, like compounding and producing drugs, as well as analyzing the drugs compounds using analytical instruments. But the pandemic has changed the method of teaching. Now we are doing remote teaching or distance teaching. There are two kind of remote teaching method, namely asynchronous method and synchronous method. In asynchronous method, the interaction between student and lecturer was done in not in live, so they are using discussion boards and also using learning management system for doing the quizzes, and also using the recorded audio or video that was in the learning management system, and also recorded slides in narration sometimes, and the student can write questions about the teaching material also in the platform of learning system. So, and the other method is synchronous. So in this method, we use virtual classroom while the lecturer do the live presentation, and then live chat by raising hand and talking to the lecturer, or also they can write the question via chat, and then or instant messaging, so the lecturer can respond instantly. And also the quizzes, they can do the quizzes on the time, lively on the time when the lecture is scheduled. So this remote teaching is has many challenges and opportunities, either for the lecturer or for the students. We can see here some of the challenges and the opportunity in this teaching method. The challenges, firstly, due to the low digital literacy, particularly for the old lecturer, which they have low digital fluently, so they don't know how to use the device, and they don't know how to operate the learning management system. Thus, sometimes they only post the slides in the via WhatsApp or in the system, but without recording the video, or they don't even they can using live the platform for doing live lecture. And also for the student, they don't have ability to screen the information related with the teaching material. So sometimes they use non-scientific reference for doing the assignment, and then so that's the challenge, the first challenges. And then the next challenges is inadequate information and telecommunication infrastructure. Some of the students, they live in the rural area and also they have limited access to internet, and they don't have proper proper device to, like, they don't have laptop or they don't have a smartphone to do the education method, to join the remote teaching method. Thus, for that students, they don't get anything from the lecture. And also the relatively high cost of internet still become problem in Indonesia, particularly for students that with have low income, so they don't have enough money to buy internet quota. And also because of many many limitation due to the infrastructure and also limitation in interaction with the lecture, the learning outcome is sometimes below the expectation. And lastly, there's increased difficulty in proctoring during assignment and also during thesis defense. The student do it at home, so they have high change to see the to cheat, to get the answer from their friend, or maybe they can googling the answer while they are doing the assignment. But although there are many challenges in doing this teaching method, there are many opportunity, which is good. And I think it's related to the shifting pharmacy business to digital era, telemedicine and virtual care. So here there's opportunity to be to increase digital literacy, and also either student or the lecturer, they have more opportunity to for creative learning process. Yeah, not only doing one way interaction, or not only using traditional lecture in class, but they will learn how to make interactive video, interesting video, and share it with their student. And also the student will try to have a good presentation while the teacher asks them to do assignment in the form of presentation. And also the other opportunities here is the time flexibility. So student and also lecturer, they have flexibility in time, so they don't have to be at the same room in the certain time, so they can learn from everywhere, anywhere, at any time. So I think, in my opinion, digital literacy skills are required for future pharmacists, because here they have to think critical, they have to have critical thinking and evaluation. So when they try to find information about drug online, so they will they know how to find the reliable and accurate reference, and also they have they can curate the information from the information about drug from online source. And also in the future they can involve in the digital pharmacy business, so they can generate and also share the data using or manage the digital digital pharmacy. And also they can learn how to share their knowledge and also information with the colleague professional and also with patient and with general public. Yeah, I think that's all from me. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
All right. Thank you very much for that very relatable presentation, Dr. Rusdi. I was once myself a student who spent a year of my PharmD program studying PharmD through online classes, and it's not something that I would really recommend. It's not easy, but we also have to consider the fact that we cannot just let COVID-19 stop us from doing what we are supposed to do, which is to continuously provide the pharmaceutical care for our patient and continuously learn as pharmacists and as a pharmacy student. Again, Dr. Rusdi, thank you very much for that presentation.
Thank you.
All right, so for our third interactivity, again, two questions will then be posted or will be flashed on your screen, and you have 20 seconds to answer the questions. At any moment, we will be releasing the result of our interactivity. All right. So for our first question, do you know what services provided by Talk to Us? So majority of our attendees answered telemedicine. And for the second question, on average, how long will it take for Talk to Us doctors to respond? Majority answered 25 minutes. Thank you very much for those who joined our third interactivity. Now, let me introduce you to our fourth speaker. Our next speaker is the medical director of HeyDoc International SDN BHD and Doc to Us. He is tasked to assist and work in collaboration with the director and the CEO to oversee the medical and clinical aspects of the company's operations. He also assists and shares the duty of managing the healthcare providers' recruitment process and activities and welfare of the platform's healthcare providers. Dr. Shekar also manages and implements medical policies, protocols, and procedures together with the director and the CEO while ensuring a safe and healthy environment. Dr. Shekaram Jutud also pilots the corporate solutions and business development team. He is also in charge of the Doc to Us EPS solutions. Dr. Sheikh, as most call him, has joined Doc to Us in October 2020. And besides practicing as a doctor, he holds a postgraduate degree in aviation medicine and a qualified aviation medical doctor and also a commercial pilot. To discuss with us telemedicine in Malaysia, the use of technology to help people and save lives, let me introduce you to our fourth speaker, Dr. Shekar Ramjutun.
Hi, Clark. Hi,
Hello.
everyone. Thank you so much for this amazing opportunity to be able to show what on the Malaysian side, especially with Dr. S, what we've been doing and what's been happening this side. First, I would like to thank the very amazing talk and compassionate that Dr. Kenny did earlier, the very informative one by Mr. Stephen and Mrs. Berta's experience, which is, you know, it's always good to hear what's happening on the other side. So can you load the slide, please? Yeah. So, okay. As Clark said earlier, guys, first of all, again, happy World Pharmacist Day. I am not a pharmacist myself, I'm a doctor, but over the flow of the last year, I have been dealing and working very, very straight and collaboratively with pharmacists. My right hand, technically right now, is a pharmacist, and we work together most of the time, every day, doing all the projects. So it's a very, very good combo that I can say. And on the doctor side, what I would also like to share is because we work a lot with pharmacists on a daily basis, like I just said, we don't we technically view our counterparts, our pharmacists, as our ears, our hands, um, and our eyes, because we depend on them 100% to provide us the right information so that we as doctors and at the management side, we can make the right call. So uh, thank you so much. Again, for me, it's been a new flow of events working with pharmacists, and it's really interesting at how things will evolve. So coming back to Doctors, basically Doctors, legally known as Haydock International SDN Berhad, was founded in Malaysia in 2015. In 2017, Doctors developed and was launched, so we became a bit more on the grounds. Q3 2017, we partnered, or we approached Alpro Chain of Pharmacy, and we started to implement the e-pharmacy, or I see that the new word that a lot of people like to use is telepharmacy, and the telehealth of SaaS. Q3 2018, we had our first corporate client, which is Hong Leong Bank in Malaysia. Q1 2019, we partnered and integrated with the Gribbles Lab. And in Q2 2019, we partnered and integrated with AIA, with the largest TPA in Malaysia, which is MyCare. Q3, same year, we developed the e-prescription system powered by the digital signature system, which is something that we are unique. We have been unique for a long period of time, and we were the only one to be able to do it in Malaysia. Coming into 2020, things start to change. We become eventually the first e-prescription system approved by the MOH of Malaysia. We signed made a partnership agreement with AIA Malaysia and partnered with Watsons. We partnered with the Ministry of Health in Malaysia, and we integrated My Sejahtera app. So basically, My Sejahtera app is a tracking app that was being used is still being used with COVID. Your entries and exits of places you've been, and how safe is the place. And the app has an integrated health advisory, and Doc2Us, our company, basically provides the health advisory, and we've got a nice team with a lot of pharmacists also helping in that health advisory that I might brush up later on. By Q3 2020, we have generated more than 250,000 e-prescriptions. Coming back to what Dr. Kenny said earlier, so we are in line with a lot of things. And we are right now on track to reach 400% growth in revenue for the year 2021. Coming into this year with the vaccines rolling out, things diverged a little bit. So we had to focus on helping the nation. They use the word Demi Negara here. So we had to do our part to help Malaysia. So we were lucky enough to be able to be in the right frame and having the right manpower to actually set up vaccination centers. So they call it PPVs here, basically translates into mega vaccination centers. And we have started vaccinating people. So even with the vaccination going on, there was a very big support from the technical side, from the digital side that I just spoke earlier about My Sejahtera, and it was all integrated. So basically, if I know that the title might sound a little bit tricky, how it saves lives. Of course, we are not talking about how directly medicine does save lives, but here we're talking about all the other outreach, how technology slowly tapped into the medical system, and is not only saving lives, but actually saving livelihoods, if I could put it that way. Because if you look at the different layers of structure that we've managed to do and build to help the people, then you can technically see how we have helped and saved livelihoods of the people here. So as at Q3 2021, we're talking, I think, towards end of August, we have generated more than 500,000 e-prescriptions. via the system that you can call telepharmacy or, you know, uh, telemedicine. So doctors working collaboratively with our counterparts, the pharmacists, and doing everything online, digital. We have already issued 500,000 e-prescriptions to the point where we have, at Doctors, bagged 2 Malaysia Book of Records awards. We've won the first one as the first one to prescribe, and also the biggest amount of e-prescriptions prescribed. So that was done by us, by Doctors. Next one, please. Yeah, so just to brush up, where I will talk about the home care plan later on. So this is basically all the pictures of what happened on the ground. You know, in June, with the vaccinations rolling out in Malaysia, like I spoke earlier, we had to come up with our part of helping Malaysia, you know, and we were quite a small group, doctors. We were focusing mainly on telemedicine, telepharmacy, digital health, but we, you know, there is this point in time where, you know, online has to go offline, you know, and you cannot continue, you know, practicing 100% of the ecosystem online, and then it has to split and go offline. So we had to now go on the ground, and we were given centers where we had to convert it to vaccination centers. So the first one, the biggest one that we started with was the Setia City Convention Center, and we started vaccinating people. You know, to date, I think we vaccinated way more than 800,000, if I'm not mistaken, doses of vaccination that we've done. And we are still running vaccination centers, not the mega centers, but we are still running centers. And this is basically, those are the pictures of the places that we work. Next one, please. Okay, so if you look at this slide, top right, it says the free virtual health advisory. So what happened was, because we are very much into the digital health and telepharmacy, telemedicine, we happen to be integrated with the government sort of sponsored or government authorized app that is being used by all the Malaysian for tracking. So basically the app, like I said earlier, allows you to go into places and come out. So you check in and check out, and then the app will give you a lot of details. And that app also tracks your vaccination status, and there's just a lot more to it. So under the app, the health advisory is being done by us, by doctors. And like I said earlier, we have a lot of pharmacists helping, providing virtual health advisory. We have doctors, we have nurses, we have dentists, we have basically a lot of healthcare providers. And as of now, we have already provided more than 1.7 million hours of service. And just to let you guys know that this is done completely free of charge. We are doing this for the nation. We are still integrated there. We are still providing the virtual health advisory, and this will go as long as we can technically, okay, I won't say put COVID behind the door, but we can technically and safely say, listen, we are now in a COVID endemic era, you know, and our effort in national recovery, like I said, we've done, I think, if I'm not mistaken, about 847,000 doses of vaccine that we have administered. And on the bottom, so the bottom right is when I went for my vaccination. So that's me in the middle, right in the middle with the mask. And then all the people around are, this is where the title actually comes in, how we saved lives and how technology saved lives. So indirectly, this is one thing that I would like to quickly speak about, is what actually happened. To us, we are the typical startup health tech company. So we are not a big company. In terms of manpower, we're not very big. But we had the drive, we had the motivation, and to some extent, we are a group of, I would say, younger people. So physically, we were still very driven, very active, and we wanted to do something to get out of this whole COVID thing. And out of all this, I'm not Malaysian myself. I am not a Malaysian. I happen to be here. I got stuck here, and I thought, irrespective of where I am, uh, it doesn't matter, because the problem is not COVID doesn't look at countries. COVID is everywhere. So whether I help in Malaysia, whether I help in South Africa or in Mauritius or wherever it is, we all have to do our part. So I was not even practicing as a doctor for the last, I would say, about 5 years. I was flying, and that was sort of a wake-up call. As doctors, we have our duty to, it's not only confined to your country, or to your community or whatever. Wherever you get the chance to step in and help, you have to do it. So that was a bit what happened with Dr. S, and me being not a Malaysian, but it still blended so well, and we could do something for Malaysia. So what actually again happened was, when the opportunity came to actually vaccinate people, we were a small group. So one of the ideas that actually dropped when I spoke to Raymond, my CEO, to Mingli, and a couple of more friends, Captain Cyrano Latif, who's one of our advisors, we realized that towards May or June, uh, me coming from an aviation background, and a lot of people in Dr. Us have aviation background. My the founder of Dr. Us, the founder has a, Dr. Raymond has a very strong aviation background as well. We used to study together at some point in Singapore. We even practiced for very little time together. We were aviation medical doctors, so we have a very strong affinity, if I can put it that way, towards all the flying people and the aviation community. So what happened was, when the opportunity dropped and we were such a small team, we were thinking, what do we do now? We want to do it. Doctors want to step in and help. We want to vaccinate people, but we are so small. So it just clicked. Eventually we thought, let's try to get volunteers, let's try to get fresh grads or something. But then it just clicked in our mind that a lot of people from the aviation background lost their job. Uh, so many of them. So we got in touch with one of our colleagues, Captain Serrano, who said, Sheikh, wait, let's brainstorm. So we actually sat down and brainstormed. And what you can see right there, all these people are people from the aviation background. And if I'm not mistaken, we've got about 450 people in and out that's sort of directly involved with the aviation industry. We hired pilots, we hired lots of cabin crews, engineers, technicians, ground staff. Uh, Basically, I mean, name it. These people, literally, that were furloughed, retrenched, without a job, joined us, Dr. Us, and the momentum picked up so fast. The cascade of events was so fast and so amazing that uh, we could not even sit down and think what's happening. It's just like the snowball, picking up momentum, and it kept growing. And towards, after a month, when we sat down and realized, we had a town hall meeting after a month, and when we realized what we've done in a month, we've hired so many people. By then we were running, I think, 19 centers, and all the people were from the aviation. It, well, when I say all, is most, basically, I would say more than 95% were from the aviation industry. Pilots, cabin crews, name it, all of them. And then we had a couple of people here and there as well. So how technology saved life, we're not talking about doing CPR and putting people in ICU and so on, but we're talking about how we indirectly, through our app, through Doctors, reached out to the other communities that were sort of indirectly involved with us. And it just happened. Sometimes you sit and think how to make it happen. You can't find the way, but then as events unfold, things just click and happen. And this is something that was quite highly spoken about, to the point where this picture that you see now with an article appeared in 13 different newspapers in if I'm not mistaken, not only in Malaysia, about how this small company managed to get things going and vaccinated more than 800,000 people. So that's a bit of our impact of saving lives and livelihood. You know, we indirectly gave the people a second chance of putting food on their table, of having money and providing for their families, because most of the people that you see are people that had lost their job. Okay, next slide. Okay, so again, at Dr. Us, our goal is very simple: to provide and to connect healthcare services to basically all the users. So right now, we have started moving out of Malaysia. So eventually, we plan to move a lot more outside of Malaysia. Mission is to connect doctors and healthcare providers. And our main role, if I can fit into the healthcare provider, are pharmacists. Those are the main people that are under the healthcare providers. Reach out more to the community. So reach out more to our patients, to our users, to our healthcare providers, to our corporate clients. And our vision, very simple. We are a healthcare company, is improve health and well-being of mankind. Leverage. We have to leverage on technology. So this is what we're actually doing. Next slide. Okay, this is now, I go a bit more into Dr. Us. That's our ecosystem. That's who we are. So if you look on top, under the health and wellness, so we have you know, we have our health content and health education where we pitch up to companies and so on. We have our health talks, that's always ongoing. And now with COVID, things were a little bit disrupted, but then yes, we're still doing it. We campaign with international pharmaceutical companies quite a lot. To the left is our consumer healthcare bubble. So we've got our own clinics, our partner clinics called AMC. We integrate with lab services. We do on-site vaccination. Like I just said, okay, COVID was COVID, but we also do flu vaccination. We do a lot of flu vaccinations to corporate clients. Right now, we're doing on-site COVID-19 screening, and we have our home care. So our home care is our home care package that we're pushing is our new little bubble that we are trying to push out to the people so that we can minimize the damages of COVID. To the right is our teleconsultation services. So that would include your well, not really the telepharmacy yet. So that's the telemedicine side for our corporate employees, for consumers, so members of the public in general. And we also have quite a significant amount of international patients. And the below bubble is the most important bubble to me, because I'm in charge of the pharmacy side. So what Dr. Us came up with is we came up with the e-pharmacy solution, or the ERX, or the EPS. So EPS is the electronic prescribing system that is being used to generate electronic prescriptions. And like I said, we've already generated more than 500,000. Next slide, because I'm going to explain how the workflow is later on. Yeah. So our business pillars are basically, so we have the online services. We've got offline services where we cannot, because like I said, online has its limitation. So online is the telemedicine, e-consultation, e-prescription, electronic MC, and the smart RTK system that we are providing. Our offline system is the home care, which is doing very well now. Our clinics, AMC, our on-site health program, our wellness program, the PPV setup, vaccination programs, COVID-19 swab, and so on. So, I mean, the typical medical thing that you would think of. And then the pharmaceutical solutions and services is again what concerns us today a bit more. So, I mean, all of you guys can actually Google, you know, very simple things. If you look at what the PSMF said, technology only in 2018 saved directly 90,146 lives. That's how technology via digitalization helped directly to save lives. And if you look at how technology and digital health tech and all these things are swapping and shifting the whole topography of medicine, you can just Google it. You'll see there's like 12 things, you know, drones, using AI, clinical skills app, 3D printing, how they're using VR to you know, there's so many things. And I can tell you one thing, at Dr. Us, if you look at the first word, drones, right here, we are working in a very shortly to be able to deliver medication in Malaysia using drones. We are working on it. We have long ago implemented AI to for all the skin problems, especially those difficult malignant skin conditions. The AI was already, I mean, has been integrated into our app, and we have been using it for quite some time. So I think even though we are a very small company, I always say we are very small yet very big, you know, because we came up with a lot of things that the others did not, maybe I can use the word did not dare to implement. So yeah, so again, under the pharmaceutical solutions, you know, there's the corporate medication delivery, there's cold chain for medication delivery, there's the e-prescription system, the telemedicine kiosk, the subscription system, and the e-pharmacy outlet. So I will show that a bit later on if we have time. Next slide. So how are we unique? We are absolutely and terrifically unique, if I can say. You know, we have been we tried to bridge all the odds. We went against all the odds. We swam against the waves. And what we are experiencing today is all the cumulative effort, especially put in by Raymond and all those that actually started Dr. Us. So our team is quite big. I won't go into all these details yet. I would say we have more than 1,000 healthcare providers in our team. We are the first and the biggest telemedicine provider in Malaysia, approved by the MOH. And we have a strong partnership with, as of today, we're talking about 550 pharmacy outlets. Yeah, as of today, and it's growing by the day. You know, with regards to all the outlets, all the pharmacies, the physical outlets that are joining us for the electronic prescription and the ERX system. Next. Oh, time is up. Okay, so just to quickly brush up, we've already reached 500,000 prescriptions. Our from 1919 to 2020, so over 1 year, our ERX has increased by more than 160%. Next slide. Our average time is not 25 minutes like you guys answered earlier. So our doctor's response time is 2.5 minutes. We are serving more than 800 corporate clients. We have more than 1,000 healthcare providers into our team. And our average overall user rating is 4.63, which is out of 5, which is quite impressive, if I can very humbly say. Next slide. So this is just a little bit of our partners here in Malaysia. Nothing to you know, nothing to elaborate too much. Next slide. Those are our pharmacy partners. So like I said, we have about, we're going to reach 600 very soon, 600 pharmacy outlets very, very soon. Trying to target a lot more than that towards the end of the year. So yeah, next slide. Okay, maybe we can skip this one and then we'll go to the next one. Next one. Okay, so basically this is what Dr. has created. I tried to skip so that we can save a little bit of time. So basically what we've done is we've put a doctor virtually to sit in all our partner pharmacies from 9 o'clock in the morning till 10 p.m. So the pharmacist becomes the, like I said, the eyes, the ears, and the hands of the doctor, and the doctor depends on the pharmacist to provide the right information. So there's some kind of separation of powers here from doctor and pharmacist. So basically now what is happening is anyone can walk into a pharmacy, one of our partner pharmacies, get a free medical consultation by one of our doctors, and the doctor issue the prescription and the pharmacy dispense the medications. That whole process from the patient walking into the pharmacy and walking out of the pharmacy can be as short as 2.5 minutes. On average, I would say it's about 5 minutes. But if you need medication and it's poison B, or you need a prescription for that, this is what Dr. Us does. We are not here to sell prescription. Our doctors are here to assess you and to guide the pharmacist and walk the way all along the pharmacist. So basically, this is what we're doing. And I think that this is why the pharmacies are relying a lot on us, because a lot of the responsibility sharing is now being shouldered by us and the pharmacists as well. So yeah, next slide. So this is basically all the different scenarios of what happens. You know, a patient can walk into the physical pharmacy, download our app, and then just tell the doctor, I am in the Doctor's partner pharmacy. So let's take, for example, pharmacy A. So the guy downloads the app and say, I'm in pharmacy A, and I would like to buy amlodipine, or I would like to buy my statins or whatever, which you by default you need a prescription. So now the pharmacy interacts with the doctor, and the doctor issues that actual prescription, and then this works. Or if it's for minor ailment or some kind of acute medication, then it's a little bit different. So then what happens is the pharmacist initiates a chat, either chat or a voice chat or a video call, where the patient and the pharmacist can interact with the doctor, or they take turns, or the pharmacy interacts on behalf of the patient to the doctor. And if the case looks correct, looks medically okay, the doctor issues the prescription, and all the pharmacy has to do using our dashboard, click, dispense, and that's it. They have the prescription comes in the form of a QR code, and then the system recognizes it and then dispense. And like I said, this whole process takes less than 5 minutes. Next slide. Again, that's about the same thing. Yeah, next slide. So for the corporate is exactly the same thing, except that we do medication delivery as well. So for our corporate clients, so within the Klang Valley, Seremban, Johor, Penang, okay, sorry, within the Klang Valley, I know the average is maybe 1 to 2 hours. We have even done it in less than 1 hour, I think on a Sunday during COVID, where the medication is delivered to the doorstep. But then if it's long-term medication and it's not in Peninsular Malaysia, it's the other side of Malaysia, in Borneo, it can take up to 3 to 5 days for the delivery. But for that's for long-term medication, right? But for acute medication, for your minor ailments, it's much less. Like I said, it's less than 4 hours. Yeah. Next. Again, we've already spoken about that. Next slide. So just to conclude the summary of Doctors, what we do is, you technically, this is what the app looks like. So you key in your personal data, you get COVID-19 inquiries assistance, you can chat with the doctor, you can view your e-prescription, you can view your chat history. I mean, everything is there. Technically, everything is there. It's like your little doctor in your pocket, technically. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah. So that's about it. There's a lot. 30 minutes is unfortunately not enough if I had to talk completely about all the things that we are doing at Doctors. But in gross, that's about it. What we are doing and what we've been doing at Doctors. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Sheikh, for that very comprehensive and a very fascinating presentation. It is indeed a commendable way to respond in COVID-19 pandemic. Again, thank you very much, Dr. Sheikh. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now down to our live Q&A session. Reminder, the issuance of certificate will be electronically sent to you upon your eligibility. It will be informed to your email, and make sure that you have Swipe RX app on your phone. Due to limited time, we can only accommodate one question for our speaker. So, all right. So first, we have a question for Sir Kenny. Okay. All right. So for Sir Kenny, Doc, what do you cover on your patient information sheet? Have you ever encountered some impatient customers who refuse to fill out the information sheet and just want to get their medicines? And do you use a special application for your pharmacy? There are several programs offered here but not integrated to the digital pharmacy services. Please advise.
Hi, thank you for that question. We don't use any application apart from the messenger that I have mentioned earlier. And what we do cover in our patient information is very, very simple, since patient profiling is not something that is a norm yet in the Philippines. And I think it's important to start off simple so that we can invite people for the buy-in of that particular service. Now, we usually cover just the checking of the blood pressure, blood glucose, a little bit of medication history, and of course, their diagnosed conditions and who their doctors are. And then just below that, you can see there that we placed the pharmacist advice. So that will form part of our assessment. and therapeutic plan. So overall, that's how simple our patient profile is, and we really intended to keep it simple because we want the patient to be appreciative of what we're doing and be able to realize that pharmacists can become their partners for managing their conditions. Now, on the other question on have I encountered impatient customers? All of our customers here in the Philippines are impatient because a lot of our chain drugstores here has trained them to be at a store to buy something and go out. That's why we are changing that landscape. I have always been telling people the change that we want to see in the Philippines doesn't happen only with the pharmacists, but there also has to be a change on the attitude of our consumers because they have been trained to look at a pharmacy as a supply system, not as a wellness center. So there is a pivot that also needs to be done there. So on my end, we have encountered that a lot on the counter. However, we have done our part in creating activities like what we call the wellness day, where we partner with doctors. So in the morning, the pharmacists are the one to check with the profile, and then in the afternoon we refer to the doctor, and then we mask this activity with a lot of freebies from our suppliers. So there are free checkups, there are free food. So it's just a monthly activity, and it's a process where they go through the pharmacist. We incorporate it so that they are able to appreciate that, oh, there's this kind of service, and I think it's very beneficial for me in terms of monitoring my health and wellness, especially for those with chronic illnesses. So that's how we counteract those impatient customers. But I tell you, it's an everyday struggle and experience for us to see those type of customers.
All right. Thank you very much for that answer, Dr. Kenny. Okay, for our next question, I think this is intended to be asked to Mr. Steven. All right. So, with regards to patient profiling in drugstore, while it may ensure that they become a loyal customer, on the case that they buy at a different drugstore, how would the updating of their profile happen? And what are the obstacles that are mostly happening in conducting pharmaceutical care online based? Do you design your own pharmacy application, or do you just buy one that is available on the market?
Okay, so with regards to patient profiling in drugstore, while it may ensure that they become a loyal customer on the case that they buy at a different drugstore, how would be the updating of their profile happen? What does this mean? Pardon? And what are obstacles mostly happen in conductive pharmaceutical care online base? So what are the obstacles? Mostly happen is like updating our stock within our own system with this third-party vendor platform. So mostly happen is like updating our stock, updating our price index, and sometimes new product. There's a lot of coordination between both of us. So do you design your own pharmacy application, or do you buy one that is available in the market? Yeah, as a former IT developer, of course, I design the pharmacy application by myself. That's it.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kong, for your answer. Now, another question for Dr. Bertha. It's hard enough to study pharmacy online. Even offline is already hard. How will the public trust the next batch of pharmacists when they do not undergo hands-on trainings and lab and other practicums? And may I ask, how will be the experiments performed during this pandemic?
Okay, thank you for the question. Yeah, I agree that it's very difficult to ensure that our graduate student will get the skill to that need for a basic skill that is needed for a pharmacist. So in my university, we plan to do like a workshop for certain practicum that will be done after that will be doing after the not after the pandemic over, but after the practicum in laboratory is possible to be done. And maybe in the next semester, once the case of the COVID-19 decline, so we plan to do the blended learning. So maybe some of the practicum will be doing offline. So the student will come to the laboratory and doing the experiment with the strict uh, with the strict procedures to ensure that the virus won't be spreading. And maybe to ensure that the pharmacists have the what is it, the skill. So in Indonesia there will be a national certification before the pharmacists can practice in the drugstore or in the hospital, so they can do the community service. I hope that's answered the question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Bertha. So for our last speaker, Dr. Shekar, how can Malaysia and the Philippines deal with the pandemic in their respective countries? And how can the role of pharmacy in this pandemic era be effective in educating the public? How many kinds of vaccines are in Malaysia?
Oh wow, that's a that's a long question. Okay, let me start from the beginning. How can Malaysia and the Philippines deal with the pandemic in their respective countries? Okay, how I think the only way forward is for now is vaccination. You know, vaccination is prime, and then keep following the SOPs. That's how we can beat. And beating would only mean for now moving from pandemic to endemic. I don't think COVID will disappear. So that's how. And how can the role of pharmacy in this pandemic era be effective in educating the public? Look at okay, exactly what doctors has been doing. You know, uh, using our pharmacies not as people to dispense medication. We use pharmacies as part of the ecosystem. You know, our pharmacies have been providing the right information to the people. We have been sharing information to our pharmacists. You know, all the medical information were being shared to all our pharmacy groups, and they reach out to their people. So we used our pharmacies as uh, healthcare relays for the right information. So this is how we've used our pharmacies as basically as medical checkpoints. Uh, this is what we're still doing, right, with doctors in Malaysia. How many kinds of vaccines are in Malaysia? As far as I know, uh, there's Pfizer. There was a short period of AstraZeneca that was being done, not too much. Sinovac was being done. Yeah, I think as far as I remember in Malaysia, that would be Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and Sinovac. I don't know whether there's Johnson or Sinopharm or okay, there was one more, CanSino. I know there was one more, but it was also not very widely used. If I'm not mistaken, it was only used for the outreach because CanSino was a single dose. So I think all in all, to answer your question, four. So Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Sinovac, and CanSino. That would be what I'm aware of were being used in Malaysia. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Shekar.
Thanks.
At this point, we will now be announcing the winners of our interactivity. Brace yourselves, my dear fellow pharmacy professionals, because at any moment, we will be announcing the names of our lucky winners.
So my team will be preparing the wheel of names. So we will, do those kind of wheel of fortune with all the names for that.
Right.
Wow, super. I mean, those are the names that is participating in our poll. Thank you very much for all the participants here. And we will provide 6 winners for the total winners for this interactivity or the games that you have been participated, and each winner that will be selected by the machine will get the price of e-money or some electronic money that will be coordinated in the local currency by our team, the Swipe RX team in your respective market. Right? Okay. So we can start now.
Okay,
We have 6.
let's see.
Stop.
Okay, our first winner is Miss Lorelai A. Cordero. Congratulations,
Okay,
ma'am.
congratulations, Miss Lorelai. And then let's do the next.
Okay, another winner, Miss Catherine Janine Ancheta. Congratulations, ma'am.
Okay, let's continue.
We also have Miss Artica Inda Neselina P. Congratulations.
Okay,
We now have 3
next.
winners.
Yes, we have another 3, and
3
I
more
hope,
to go.
yeah, that will be representative enough to Indonesia, Philippines, and Malaysia.
Congratulations, Miss Yolanda Anonuevo. We are now down to our last 2 winners. Congratulations, Jessie Cabalida. All right. So to complete the list of our winners, congratulations, Miss Joanne L. De Mesa. Congratulations to all of our winners. Okay, so at this point, just a few reminders about our participant certificate. Okay, so the Swipe RX will be sending an email to those who have spent a minimum of 45 minutes in the webinar. The participants with less than 45 minutes will not receive a certificate, unfortunately. You are required to fill out the feedback form by clicking the link provided in the email and make sure that you have a Swipe RX account. Make sure that you are connected to a stable internet network while answering the feedback form. Do not leave or close the Swipe RX app. Closing or leaving the application while answering the feedback form will be marked as a failed attempt. There's no score requirement to get the certificate. You just need to complete the feedback form. You will get your certificate within 48 hours after the completion of your form. For more information or any question, just send an email to hello@swiperxapp.com. Again, thank you very much to all of our participants for joining us today. And I am Mark Laidawana, your moderator for today's event, saying thank you, stay safe, and see you on the next Swipe RX events. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.
Okay, maybe before we end our webinar, should we have some photo session?
Oh, sure.
Okay, wait. And for all the panelists, please put your camera on. I will add another spotlight here. Mm, oh. Mm. Wait. I have to make everyone in this one. Wait a minute. Mm. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you,
All
Smart
right. Thank
RX.
you very much, everyone. Dr.
Thank you.
Shika,
Thank
Miss
you.
Berta, Dr. Kenny, and
Thank
Clark.
you. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Have a great evening, everyone. Stay safe.
Um,
Good
Bye-bye.
evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.